Today, I want to talk a little bit about rating systems versus ranking systems, what they are, what they mean, and why I feel a little bit weird in Legend, but not that weird because let's be honest. I'm actually wearing a Journey to Un'Goro shirt, so I'm a legend in itself. So, here's the thing. There is this confusion that comes up with a lot of people when they look at a ladder system, an ELO system, a rating system, something like this, and they think that it is a determination of skill. I've heard someone say that a tournament should determine who the best player is. By definition, no tournament system, rating system, any of these things, they do not measure skill. I want you to just digest that statement for a moment. They do not measure skill. They are not measures of skill. What they are measures of progress within that system. Now, that sounds really weird because it's hard to hit 9K MMR in Dota. So if you're 9K MMR, doesn't that mean that you are good? What are you saying, that the 9K people are indistinguishable from the 1K people in skill? No, I'm not necessarily saying that. And we're going to come to that in a moment. I just want you to know I am going to address this. But what I want to step back to is the following thought experiment. Suppose we have a 16-person tournament. And suppose I'm an omnipotent god and I can craft out of thin air 16 identically evenly matched skillful people. They are the exact same skill level. What's going to happen? Well, in each of the matches, assuming that we are playing a game in which drawing is impossible, in each of these matches, one of these players is going to win or lose. So at the end of the tournament, you have a first, a second, a third and fourth, a top 8, and all the people who got knocked out first round in the 16-person tournament. You have a winner, but all these people are identically evenly skilled. That tournament produced a stack ranking, but we know, because we are the omnipotent god, that all these people are identically, evenly, skillfully matched. It does not mean that the winner was the person who was best that day. It does not mean that that winner is actually the person who's most skillful. That's just kind of what it means. You just wind up with a stack of rankings of how the people performed in the tournament. Again, imagine that we took these, let's say 100 people who are evenly, skillfully matched, and we put them into a ladder. We know that every single match that is played on this ladder will be a 50-50 chance of winning, assuming that you cannot draw. So what winds up happening is that after all these people play, you will not wind up with all the people being even records. You'll wind up with what's called a bell curve, right? With a binomial distribution of some people will be like, oh, and whatever. Some people will be undefeated. Some people will be... most people actually be in the middle, thereabouts. This is just what happens in these rating systems. Now, the important thing to note is the direction we're going in. I know the skill, and therefore I can see who has a chance of getting deep in these tournaments. Again, I know the skill, and I see who can get deep. For example, go back to our 16-person instance. Let's say everyone's evenly matched except for one person who's way better than everyone else. This person has a 95% chance to win against the rest of the field. It is possible that this very skillful person loses first round, dead last. That 5% happens in the very first round. This person gets eliminated, and suddenly we have not the best player in first, not the best player in second, not the best player in the top 4, not the best player in the top 8, but actually the best player being eliminated first round, right? And I want to stress, think of the direction that we're going in. I know the skill level, therefore I can talk about this outputted result. Now, in reality, we are not omnipotent gods, and we have no ability to specifically identify what someone's skill level is. There's no clear, strong definition of skill. Imagine that you received a result of a tournament that has a first, second, third, fourth, top 8, top 16. And I say, who's the best player here? Just based on this. It's hard. You can't give an accurate answer to that because could be the case the best player just kind of had fucking hit that 5% and he got eliminated in the first round. That could be the case. And what we wind up seeing, though, is that there is a correlation with your ability to progress in a tournament or in a ladder system with your skill. There's a correlation between your ability to progress and your skill, which means if you have someone like a bunch of random, people who are just like platinum level StarCraft players, you drop Pult in there, it is very likely that Pult consistently makes it to the end. So if you, say, had 10 of these tournaments, you'd be able to say, damn, look at Pult, consistently getting in the top. Based upon my understanding of data analysis and statistics, we can say that it is highly likely that he is more skillful on average than those other people. You can talk about the correlation there. And so, for instance, doing something like getting to 9K in Dota, that's very hard, because there comes a point where if you're at 50-50 win rates when you're, say at the 3K bracket, and then you win some games, but you have not gotten better, suddenly you'll be at like a 30% chance to win in your games. And it's still possible for you to go up with 30% chances to win. And then you're getting to a point where you're at like 2% chance to win, because the people that you are playing with are better. Like, the probability of skillful people advancing in the ladder is higher than the probability of unskillful people advancing in the ladder. Therefore, the average expectation when you are higher up in the ladder is that your win rate is lower if you are not improving in your skill. And so this is why people tend to go down. And so if you say something like, I have hit 4K MMR, I have hit 5K MMR, I've hit 6K MMR, these are actually significant milestones. And these are pieces of information someone could use to say, oh yeah, so-and-so is quite skillful. But it's very important that you note that they do not measure skill, right? They are not measurements of skill. They're just pieces of data, and most importantly, and one of the big points of this whole rant, is that they're fun. They're fun. They're fun. It's fun to strive to hit 3K MMR and to hit it. Yeah. It's fun to enter into a tournament and try to win it. Ah! And I'm a big believer that any ladder system should be fun to participate in. Like, that should be the number one goal, is that there's fun progress. And I say all this because now that I'm in Hearthstone and I'm hitting this legend rank, I didn't play Hearthstone for a few days, and all of a sudden I've dropped 3,000 points, and that feels kind of weird. And this, to me, is one of the reasons why I like having ranking and rating both there. Ranking being how do you compare to everyone else, and rating being some absolute number that you are ranked by. It's fun to be able to say, oh shit, man, I'm striving towards 6,800 MMR. I went down in rank, but I'm still at 6,800. Let me try to hit 6,900. You can see this fixed thing that is moving, whereas everyone else might be going up and down and all that sort of stuff. You have a fixed thing to focus on and to work on.